Oh, hi. You know, a lot of great things were born in '92. Mario Paint, the Disney Aladdin movie, Z-Bots. Bill Clinton was elected President of the United States. Well, who gives a shit about that, but it was also the year Mortal Kombat was born, the franchise. 25 years. God, that makes me feel old. If you hear some rumbling, there's a thunderstorm off in the distance. But anyway, in honor of their 25th anniversary for Mortal Kombat, I'd like to share with you some of my fond memories. Oh, the first game, I remember playing it at I think it's still around, an arcade that I haven't been there since I was a kid, called Starland. Sorry, my allergies are going nuts today. It was funny. Like, my brother and I went there, well, with our sister and our stepfather, but my brother and I were like, oh, Mortal Kombat, what's this? You know, because at the time it was just this new game. It wasn't like the big phenomenon that it would later become. And so it was the two of us, along with 3 or 4 other kids, were taking turns fighting each other. And I kept picking Scorpion, just because I don't think any of us knew any of the special moves or fatalities, but I had like this obsession with ninjas, so I was like, oh cool, ninjas, in the first game. And, you know, the game would later be ported to Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis, which, I think we all know the story behind that. Censors. A year later was when the second game came out, and I remember playing it at, my grandparents live in New Hampshire, so we would visit them every summer. And there's an arcade there called Fun Spot. I talked more about it in my arcade memories video. I know my throat's all nasally. Yeah. So one time, it was in '93 we went there, and they had Mortal Kombat 2, so my brother and I were really excited. And damn, the throat keeps drying up. So anyway, there was 2 other kids that were playing it, so my brother and I were like, oh, come on, hurry up, give someone else a chance. But at the same time, it was like kind of cool, because it was like, we'd see one of them playing as Johnny Cage, and like, oh, he's going to do the torso rip fatality or something. So eventually we did get a chance to play it, and had a good time. I think I've said before that when it comes to the Mortal Kombat games, the older ones with the digitized actors, the second one has to be my favorite. Here's why, because I never really went into details as to why. For starters, I like the way a lot of the characters were introduced. And what I mean by that is, well, I think most of us remember the classic reptile trick from the first game where you fight him in the spike pit. You know, that was a big deal for me at the time, because, well, it's like, oh, cool, another ninja, and he's green. Green's my favorite color. So, you know, now Reptile was a playable character, you know, in Mortal Kombat 2, and on top of that, he was also a lizard, which was another thing I had an obsession with when I was a kid. We had heard about Kun Lao through Liu Kang, and now he's a playable character. We had heard about Jax through Sonya, now he's a playable character. And Shang Tsung, who was the last boss in the first game, is now a playable character, but he's a lot younger. And, damn allergies. That's why I sound nasally, sorry. A lot of dust in this house. But anyway, I love that classic Shang Tsung look from the second and third game. I kind of miss that look. Another thing with the second game is, the levels were so awesome. My 2 favorites were, would have to be Acid Bath and the Living Forest. And, every character had 2 fatalities, which was sweet. Actually, I remember Shang Tsung had 3. Because there was one where he would go up their nose. Ironic, well, like I'm talking right now. But anyway, he'd go up their nose and they'd explode, which was interesting. Then he had one where he'd turn it to Kentaro and punch them in half. That was kind of cool. And of course there was the infamous Soul Stealer fatality. Yeah. And that one was I think that was the only time I played it in the arcade, was in Fun Spot that one time. But I remember when it got ported to the home consoles. And my brother and I had a lot of good times with that. And the third game, I think I've told the story before, but it's kind of short. There's always going to be new people here. There used to be an arcade across the street from my house, and they had... Damn allergies. I'm sorry. But anyways, they had Mortal Kombat 3 there, and at this time, the franchise was so big that there was a huge line just to play one match, you know. And this was a relatively small arcade. So, one of my brother's favorite new characters was Cabal, and I remember it was like, you know, as we were getting closer to the machine, he's like, "Oh, that's Cabal!" Like somebody was playing as him. The third one, it was okay, I think. Like, it, I mean, some of it was kind of tame. Like, some of the fatalities were a little bit meh. Like, for example, Jax has a fatality where he grows and steps on them. No comment. Other than that, the game was pretty cool. And, one of the things that I think a lot of people were disappointed with, I didn't really mind, but it was the fact that the ninjas weren't in it. And I think the reason for that was they wanted to kind of try something different. You know, that's like, there was the robots instead, but people were like, nah, it's not the same. I mean, technically Sub-Zero was in it, he just didn't have the ninja outfit. That was, the original Sub-Zero from the first two games with the original Mask Sub-Zero, he was actually killed and became Noob Saibot. And the Sub-Zero from the third game with the scar over his eye, and he's in all the Mortal Kombats after that, he was actually the Sub-Zero, the younger brother of the original Sub-Zero. And the reason that Noob Saibot's name changed was because Mortal Kombat had two owners, Ed Boon and John Tobias, so that's where the name came from. It was both their last names backwards. And John Tobias eventually left, so the name changed to just Noob, which is kind of funny if you think about it, because it's more of like a word to use when you like call someone an idiot or something. I think that's why they made Mortal Kombat 3 Ultimate with all the ninjas and shit. But one of the things I loved about the third game was the bell tower level. That was awesome. When you knocked them through the floors and into the spike pit. Also in '95 was when the Mortal Kombat movie came out. And that movie is awesome. I don't give a shit what anyone says, but I remember I was so excited for that. My brother rented it on a Friday night, and the following morning, we got up very early, and we literally watched it 6 times in a row. I'm not kidding. And a funny thing, there's actually a code for the third game, because it came out like after the third movie. There's a code for the third game hidden in the credits, which is, it's funny to think about because that's so like outdated, because I don't even remember what the code does, but it's something you could literally just look it up on the internet. I mean, hell, you could have done that like 15 years ago. You could have looked that code up on the internet. I remember Trilogy for the PS1. My brother, I think he still has it. God, we played the shit out of that game. So many memories. And in I think Trilogy was 96, but I'm not sure. But 97 was when the fourth game came out. That was when they stopped using the digitized actors. A lot of the characters, well, a few of the characters were introduced through the Mortal Kombat mythology game, like Quan Chi, for example. He's awesome. He's such a great villain. One of my favorite new characters was Jarek. Yeah, I don't know why, he was awesome. I was kind of disappointed when he was never in any of the others except for Armageddon, but we'll get back to that. Yeah, the fatalities in that one was fucking sick. Like, Quan Chi's leg beat fatality. I think Jarek had the heart rip fatality, which was, personally, I think that was the best one I'd ever seen. It still is, I think. It's kind of funny, speaking of Jarek, how I like the kind of the story that went with that, how it was like, he was part of the Kano's group, the Black Dragon, but Kano and everyone was dead except Jarek was the only one left, even though Kano was back, but whatever. Anyway, Tanya, I remember I really liked her too. And I'll never forget, that was at Replay as well. And my brother was playing the arcade mode. I was probably playing Metal Slug or something. I was obsessed with those games in the 90s in the arcade. And my brother, so I was playing Metal Slug or whatever, and my brother's like, Mark, I just beat it with Reptile. I look over for like 2 seconds, and I see Shinnok holding up Reptile by his throat, and then all of a sudden he explodes. And I was like, are you serious? Because Reptile, ever since the second game, Reptile and Liu Kang are two of my big favorite characters. I get thirsty when I talk a lot. Where was I? Oh yeah, the fourth game. Yeah, and Reptile's death. Yeah, I feel like he gets screwed in pretty much all of his endings. Not all of them, but a lot of them. Like I said, pretty much all of them. Yeah. Anyway. The fourth game, where was I? One of the things that I was disappointed that it was taken out of the console ports, I heard it's in the N64 version, but I'm not sure, was in the factory level where you could throw them into the giant fan. I remember there was like little sentry lights that would follow the characters around. It was taken out of the console versions, like I said, but I don't know if it's in the N64 version or not. Supposedly, I don't know. And I remember there was a classic trick that characters actually had alternate skins. Like, I didn't really like Reptile's style, if you will, in the fourth game, but one of his alternate skins, which you could play, was like the classic one, you know, with the ninja outfit. There was one for Johnny Cage where he had like a suit. There was one for Scorpion where he was gray instead of yellow, and then he didn't wear the mask, so it was just a skull. And there was a couple of funny tricks you could do in the fourth game. Was if you do you have somebody playing as Reptile or Scorpion. You know, Reptile does the acid spit, Scorpion does the fire breath. Not the fatality, just like the special move. You have them do that move, and then you jump over them as they're doing it, and the acid or fire will actually come out the back of their head. And another funny trick, my brother and I discovered this by complete accident, because I think he rented the PS1 version. Like I said, I really like Tanya. Like, we discovered this by accident. The characters who had the weapons, and you know how in that, a couple of levels had weapons you could, like one level had boulders, another one had spiked balls, another one had heads, and you could pick up the weapon and throw it at them? Or, I mean, it was just automatic, you pick it up, they throw it. But Tanya's weapon was a boomerang, and so if you do one of those levels, play as Tanya, have her take out the boomerang, throw it, and then when it comes back to her, you block it, and it'll fall onto the ground. Then you pick up the boulder or head or whatever, and it'll actually stick to her hand, because the game like doesn't know the difference and thinks the head or rock or whatever is the boomerang. It's just a funny little thing you can do. Now, 97 was also the year that the Mortal Kombat Annihilation came out, which... that movie was... it's bad, but it has its moments. I don't think I need to go into details with the flaws. I think plenty of people have done that. One thing I will point out, though, was... well, I think we all know that the lack of ninjas really pissed everyone off. I mean, Scorpion and Sub-Zero are in the movie for, like, less than 5 minutes. One thing I noticed, though, was that Ermac is the only ninja that's in the movie a lot. And he literally only has one line. I mean, Rain's in the movie for like 30 seconds, and he has like 4 lines. But, yeah. Maybe that's why the franchise went cold for a number of years. So I think it was 2002? The Deadly Alliance came out. That was a good one. I love Deadly Alliance. I still play that one from time to time. A lot of cool characters in it. I really liked Boraicho. I thought he was awesome. And hilarious. Kenshi became one of my new favorite characters. Still one of my favorites. And naturally, I was pissed when they killed off Liu Kang. And I like how they started digging more into Kano's background, if you will, of like... because there was a Deception. I know we're jumping ahead again. exception was when they had, well, first of all, they brought back Cabal, who used to be a member of the Black Dragon group, and they brought in like other members like Cobra and Kira. That was cool. How they expanded the group, if you will. I didn't really play too much of Deception, really. Yeah. And then Armageddon. It was funny. I remember because of the trilogy game, and then when after the fourth game, I was like, imagine if they made a second trilogy. Well, that's what Armageddon was. It had everybody in it, and that came out after I graduated from high school. And I still love that opening scene with like the huge battle of them all fighting and shit, and they all try and climb the pyramid, and, like fighting each other. And then I love how it's like they're all just like looking up, like, and then Strikers, it's like, here's Milena, Strikers just like, BAM! Fucking hilarious. And I'll never forget this. My brother bought it at Best Buy. I went with him, and I think my voice is back. He bought it at Best Buy. We got home on probably around like 9:15 or something. So it's like 15 minutes away. The only Best Buy near us, so it was being closed fairly soon. So we get home. We're all excited, ready to play the game. He opens the case. There's no disc in there. Like, are you fucking kidding me? How do you screw up? Like, whatever. I forget if he bought it the next day or not, but he did buy it when he waited for me to play it. And Armageddon was awesome. And the funny thing is, some of the characters that people were like Mocap, for example. I think some of the characters people were like, who? Well, the story with them was Meat. I forget if he was in Mortal Kombat 3, Ultimate, or Trilogy. I vaguely remember him. Chameleon, I do strongly remember. He was in Trilogy. He was like, it was one of those things you just do like a code and you'd play as him for one match or something. Yeah. And he was basically just a translucent ninja, and he would keep changing colors, and he had like one move from each of them, basically. You know, he wasn't really like an extra. He was kind of just like a little bonus character, really. And in Deadly Alliance, it was the same thing. It had Blaze and Mocap, which was just like, again, it was a character you could play as for just one match. So especially Mocap, it's like, it's just like a funny little trick you could play on your friends or something, you know, if you were doing burst mode. But when Mortal Kombat Armageddon was under development, people kept emailing Midway and stuff saying like, you're gonna bring back Blaze, you're gonna bring back Mocap, you're gonna bring back Chameleon and Meat, you said you're gonna bring back everyone, so that's why they were in it, because Midway was like, alright, I guess we're gonna have to fit them in there, so that was why they were in it. And I like, the endings were really cool, because they were kind of like simple, like it just showed them like doing moves and then the guy was narrating, because I think it was just kind of like a what-if situation, like this is what would happen if this character won. Some of them were awesome, like I remember I really liked Shao Kahn's, for example. It was like, after he defeated Blaze, because, you know, when they decided like, oh, we'll have to fit him in, they decided to make him more of a major character. But Blaze, after Shao Kahn defeated him, he basically gained his powers and became like 10 times more powerful. And so he easily conquered all the other realms, and once there was nothing left to like take over or conquer, he like went insane. Then they kind of started to sort of flying around. Then there was Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe. My brother had it, I think he sold it. That was interesting. The newer one, when they rebooted the series, the one that came out like 6-7 years ago, whatever, I never actually played that one. I've been meaning to buy it, I just haven't gotten around to it. And Mortal Kombat X, which is, you know, the 10th game, I bought that one a couple of years ago. I haven't played it in a while, but that game is fucking awesome. Yeah, so I wonder what's next for the series, but that's about it, folks. So thanks for watching, everybody. And sorry, I'm burping shit up here. So, again, thanks for watching.